Hello and welcome to Film Companion South. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Aanum Pennum, which means man and woman. And this is an anthology film. There are three short films here. It's playing on Amazon Prime Video and on Newsstream. And if there's a theme running through these three films, it is that the woman is stronger than the man. At least she's more decisive, she's less hesitant, she's more loyal in love, so on and so forth. The three films are set in three different time periods. The first one is just after the British have left. The second is an in-between period, maybe the 50s, 60s, somewhere like that. And then the third one is set in the modern day. And I'm not sure that this adds much to the whole thing. I mean, this whole the cross section of time adds to the theme, but it is what it is. So we start with Savitri, directed by J.K. All the three films, incidentally, are named after women. So we start with Savitri, and it stars Samyukta Menon, Joju George, and Indrajit. The theme, apparently, if you just look at the story, it's about communism was on the rise just after the British have left, and the police have shoot-at-sight orders if they encounter communists. But for me, the key layer of the film was the subject of disguise that goes back to the Mahabharata. This is a reference to the period of the Mahabharata. It is a derivation of that, where the Pandavas spent their last year in exile, being disguised as other people. The main reference, of course, is shown in the film itself in the form of a Kathakali performance. There is this Kichaka Vadam where Bhima kills Kichaka, the man who is lusting after Draupadi, who is working as, or rather disguised as, a servant maid. The Samyukta Menon character faces a similar plight in a dominant caste household because she is also someone who is disguised as someone else. But there are other references that I kind of picked up. I don't know if they're intentional or if they're just like, coincidental, but I saw the burning house, a burning cottage in the film as a reference to the house of wax that the Pandavas escaped from. And I saw a dance teacher as a reflection, a Kathakali dance teacher as a reflection of Arjuna, who teaches dance to a princess in the royal household that they've all taken refuge in. And coincidentally, the third story, the Rani, the very last one, makes a joke about Gandhari that made me laugh out loud. So there's another Mahabharata reference there. But consider this layer too. Now, the Satyawansa Savitri legend is a part of the Mahabharata. It is narrated in one of the Parvas. And here too, the main story of the Satyavansa Savitri thing is that here is this woman who fights with the Lord of Death for a cause, which is her husband. And here too we have a woman who is married to a cause and is willing to fight death for it. Again, I don't know if all of this was intentional, but it was just interesting to kind of think about all these tangents because there are some that are definitely, at least the Kichaka Vadam kind of led me on all these tangents. But while this narrative conceit taken as a whole is kind of fascinating, the individual events themselves, the way the story unfolds, the way the characters are, the way the events unfolds, there is no surprise in it and it feels rather flat. Next we have Rajyama, directed by Venu and starring Parvati Tiruvottu and Asif Ali. And here too, like in the first film, the woman power aspect is in your face. It's like really, really obvious. We begin with a woman whose husband has just died and she's an old woman. And usually you don't see old women so much in control of their faculties after the death of a spouse. They leave the money aspects to their son or somebody. But this woman is like, I have to talk to the bank people because there are some papers to sign and all that. She's in full control. And then we have Rajyama herself, played by Parvati Tiruvottu, and she is, she kind of accosts a man on the street. This man owes her money and she makes him give back that money right then and there. And then she saves another man from an elephant because this man is scared and she knows what to do in order to rescue him. Asif Ali plays an Asif Ali character. We've seen this many times, but Parvati, it's interesting to see her in this feisty, rather theatrical mode. It's almost like she's kind of the mix of languages. Her father is Tamilian, her mother is something else. She speaks a mix of Kannada and Malayalam. The character itself is conceived as a loud theatrical person, and it's rather fun to see Parvati kind of cutting loose and doing this. Though the character itself doesn't appear a very real character, it appears more like a conceit. But it's fun to watch while it's unfolding. But what really bothered me about this was the central love story involving Parvati, which kind of harks back to an earlier era, which today might be called patriarchal, where a woman kind of is so loyal in love that she does all these things. There is a sentimentality about the whole thing that in the end, especially towards the end, that kind of left a bad taste in the mouth. And finally, we get to Rani, directed by Aashiq Abu. It stars Darshana Rajendran, Roshan Matthew, Kaviyur Ponnamma, Nedumudi Venu, and Basil Joseph in a very, very small role. Now, this film is the real standout. It's mind-blowingly magnificent. I mean, forget the content about the woman power or whatever it is. Just look at the form first. The way the whole thing is written and staged, whether there is conversation or whether it's just silent. The way the music gently kicks in at exactly the right moment and lasts exactly how long it's supposed to. The flavor in the dialogues, the texture in the dialogues, the unexpected twist with the subplot involving Kaviyur Ponnamma and Nedumudi Venu. The way the story casually brings in basic human functions like sex, menstruation, hunger, shitting, the way a biblical verse comes to haunt a man who uttered it just a few minutes earlier. And of course, the way the actors are directed. Darshana Rajendran she's got the role of a lifetime here because, it's like she's so good. And Roshan Matthews, again, is very, very, he's superb. The whole like just in terms of form alone, this is as good as anything that you've seen this year. It's just brilliant. So I started out by saying forget the content, just focus on the form, right? But now let's look at the content itself. Even the way the woman power issue is folded in is so gentle, so kind of, it's not invisible exactly, but it really fits in without saying woman power, woman power. It doesn't hold a placard. In an earlier film, we talked about a man who was afraid of an elephant. There was an actual elephant there. But here, Roshan Matthew refers to being afraid of snakes, and he just mentions thinking about another place rather than actually seeing a snake and being scared of it. It's that kind of stuff. So all this, even though it's there, it doesn't feel like a film that is about something. It just feels like a film. It feels like snapshots pulled out of somebody's life, some people's lives, which is the toughest thing for a filmmaker to achieve. And the ending, oh god, it's breathtakingly good. So Rani is easily the highlight for me and the only film that fully works in this anthology. So that's it for Aanum Pennum. If you like this video, do subscribe to Film Companion South and see you soon at the movies.